Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Roll it, Tony.
My daughter is still in there. Please.
Pocket! Pocket! Get out of there!
Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest today is an actor. He began his career with his first love, music. And over the years, he's played in a variety of films. Now, you just saw our guest playing a hero scene where he saved a young girl who was caught in a huge burning home, and he was able to get her out of the building. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Patrick Faucette. Greetings, Patrick, and welcome to The Actor's Choice.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Wouldn't have it any other way, sir. Now, before we talk about you, would you please tell us where you was born?
Where I was born?
Mm.
I was born in Bristol, Pennsylvania. Grew up in Willingboro, New Jersey.
Uh-huh. Okay. I noticed there's that picture there.
Yeah, a little water
that tower wall. You can see it from all over the place. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. Okay. So what made you, a nice guy that you are, get into this business?
Yeah, it's a crazy business, right?
It is a crazy business.
Well, I mean, I was always like a performer. I was a musician, like you said, before I became an actor. My mom's a concert pianist and has a master's in music. So, you know, we all had to play something. I played the bass guitar because I didn't like the piano. So I played the bass, and I was in a bunch of bands when I was young. And then, once I came out to LA, I was living with a bunch of actresses that I went to school with, and they wrangled me into doing a play with them. And that's how I caught the acting bug. Started taking acting classes up in San Francisco, and then eventually moved to LA to pursue that career.
Do you do any stage work, sir?
Yeah. I've done many plays. I've done some Shakespeare. I was Othello at one point here in LA. So yeah, I've been on stage. I try to do a play every other year, but lately, it's been every 3 or 4 years because there's so much stress in a play that I'll be on the verge of divorce every time I do one. Because you got that female lead calling you all the time. You have rehearsal day and night, especially when it gets close to showtime. So it's tough on the family.
I'm glad you brought it up. You don't know this, but I have a bone to pick with actors and actresses. Now, the audience has heard me say this a zillion times. Say, will you please shut up? But here's my game. I see a lot of people who want to be a star, and we know what that is. And they come here to Los Angeles, and that's fine. They do television, they do film, but they don't get up on that stage. What's wrong with these folks?
What's wrong with these folks?
Say again?
I said, what's wrong with these folks? That's how you establish your real juices.
So what do you think? Why won't they get up on the stage? It's good training.
Great training.
Yeah.
Great training. Because you don't get more than one take.
Right. That's true. So true indeed. Now, when you came here to Hollywood, what was it like leaving the East Coast to come over here? What was that like?
Well, I first went from the East Coast to San Francisco.
Okay.
And that was pretty daunting. I had a couple $100 in my pocket. I had a room to rent in San Francisco, and I moved out looked for a job. I went to school in Boston and graduated with a degree in physical therapy. So when I moved out to San Francisco, you know, I interviewed a bunch of places, got a job as a physical therapist, and that's when, you know, I started doing theater up in San Francisco. So it was pretty daunting, pretty scary, but it was an adventure.
Did you see Alcatraz while you were there?
I did. I saw Alcatraz.
Oh yeah, nice place.
Got on the little train.
Mm-hmm.
Went up all the hills. Yeah, beautiful place, San Francisco.
Yes, it is. Just nice hills going up and down. The food
is great. The weather is
weather
a little bit. Yeah, that cold, foggy stuff. And when I got to LA, I moved to LA in '94, right after the earthquake, and I saw the sunshine. I was like, this is my home.
They had a big earthquake, as you know, up in San Francisco. You know. Yeah,
I missed that one too. I was in '89, and
really?
I got to San Francisco in 1990, and then LA had its earthquake in '94, and right after that, I moved to LA. So I come right after the earthquakes.
I was thinking, because we had a president named Clinton, and when he came here to LA, I guess somebody must have told him, Mr. President, while you're here, we're going to show you what them shaking brakes are all about. And then he must have, okay, and it broke. It really was an earthquake.
Oh, while he was here?
Yeah, while he was here. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He didn't walk. He ran back to D.C. He ran. Yeah. I like the way you talk about, I always ask that question about education and training. And thank you for what you've done, because a lot of people don't understand. You need to know what's going on. In fact, I just happen to have it with me. I'm going to share with you an information thing that might help you. This, my brother, is what we call a second brain. It's a second brain. When you lose something, you forget something. Okay, Google. And this, who is this guy, Patrick Faucette? Who is he?
Mm-hmm. I call my Uncle Google.
Is it here's what they found on you? An interview with Patrick Heart and Soul. Patrick Faucette's breakthrough role, who owns all kind of information. Right on here, brother. Right on here.
That's it.
Second brain. I always call it the second brain. You got one brain, and especially when you get older, you forget things. Like, what's your name? That's why we have name tag. You know. Seriously, first IMDb credit. The year was 1955. That's no jive. And you came out here and you did, according to IMDb, you did Panther.
Oh yeah, that was 94.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the Panther. I played Masai Hewitt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Raymond Masai Hewitt.
Yeah, that was my first job. I came to LA.
Yes.
I started on that as an extra, actually. Yes. And then Mario Van Peebles was the director.
Mm-hmm.
And he started talking to me. He used to call me GQ, because I'd be dressed when I came to the set. He was like, hey, GQ, I got a role for you. And he wanted me to play this part when Bobby Seale was getting married. I was going to be his best man. He gave me some lines, and next thing I know, I was rolling.
That expression is who you know. Who you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a good looking fellow, so you'd be looking good in a role like that. Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Now, speaking of roles, what roles do you look for? Since you know all these folks, which one are you looking for?
I like some meaty roles where there's a little bit of internal conflict, something you can dig your teeth into a little bit, you know, and that's not all on the surface.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ever want to be a director?
Complicated.
Yeah, it is complicated. You ever want to be a director?
I thought about it. It's kind of that natural progression as an actor when you start seeing how everything is working together. That you know, you see, well, what would I do? Oh, differently, you know, and that kind of loans itself to that progression of actor to director.
I can just see it now. Roll it.
Yeah. Action.
Action. I saw a guy one time, okay, we said it first, action and roll it, or roll in action. The sequence, he had it backwards. Things you learn.
He was like, action and rolling.
Yes, yeah, got to act. You learn. It's a training process. The year was 2013. And a movie came out. They called it The Haves and the Have Not. You and a guy by the name of Tyler Perry, y'all had that work.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like working with him? What's he like?
That?
What's he like? This Tyler guy.
Oh, that's probably the hardest working man in South Hollywood, Atlanta. Man, that dude is the first person on the set, last person off the set, knows exactly what he wants from you, and he's like a hands-on director. You learn a lot from that dude because he knows how to make money because he's like, bam, 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 bam. I want you over here. You're going to come there. I want this camera there. You're going to get the close-up on that. You're going to do the 2-shot on that. Then I want you to come sit here when you say that. Then you're going to go sit there. Then you're going to do this. I was like, what? Wait, what?
Wow.
Yeah, you got to be ready. You got to have your lines down and be ready to rock when you start working with Tyler Perry.
Well, guess what? We just happen to have a clip. Roll it, Tony.
Remember Mr. Watson from the church, right?
Yes, I do. Tony, what are you doing here?
Your son told me you've been a little under the weather lately, so he asked that I come over and cook a nice dinner for you.
Well, that's nice. But I'm fine. You didn't have to do this.
No, it was no problem. I've been having a little trouble cooking for just one since my wife died.
You didn't hear it, but when we take it home, we're gonna send you a copy. You'll be able to hear the audio. You're looking good with that lady. It was good work there. Good work there.
Yeah, that was my first day on the job there.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first day. Actually, I was only supposed to be on as a guest star love interest for Hannah.
Okay.
And then after we shot that scene, we had another scene where we're sitting at dinner. So before Tyler Lepley, that played my son Benny, before he left the room in that scene, Tyler Perry cut the shooting and was like, when he walks out, I want you to say, does he know? And then I want Hannah to say, he has no clue. Like, does he know I'm his father? And I'm like, wait, what? Are we gonna go there? And he's like, we're gonna do it, let's do it. And I was like, man. And after that scene we sat down, me, Tyler Perry, and wrote the next scene where I was playing, we were gonna talk about me being his dad. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I knew that was the start of a big thing right there. I was like a dream come true.
Thank you for telling us about behind the scenes. A lot of people out there are watching this. And we get people, we say, hey, there's a line for you, a director. But you're out there, you're in charge, you got the money, they got the budget, you're in charge of that budget. You don't want to go over if you can, but you want to get that film out good quality. And with all the special effects that we have these days, and it sure has changed in the last 10 years, would you say?
Yeah, changed a lot.
Yeah, every time you look up something new. Okay. Thoughts you may have, sir, about the WGA Guild and Screen Actors Guild situation going on right now?
Well, I'm trying to stay positive that they can get a deal, because I think they're only negotiating with them right now. They haven't even started negotiating with the actors yet.
Yes.
So I'm hoping they can get a deal, because from what I've seen with the AI stuff,
yes,
man, it's scary, because I've used some AI to write some stuff up. Like me and my buddies have a script, yes, and we wanted to break the script down and make like a little synopsis, and we asked the AI to do it, and they made a beautiful synopsis. I'm like, oh man, that's scary. So they got they better secure some serious safeguards now, or else it's going to be tough on the writers.
It's going because when artificial intelligence, when it first hit, I said, "What's that?" Didn't know much about it. As I learned more, you could be real. I could be real, but is that us? Is that us? I don't know. You're right. Scary, very scary, very very scary. I was at the other day. I was in a faculty meeting. I teach over at Santa Monica College, and they had someone come in and give us some information about it, and showed us how to, I won't say trick, but how to test. That's a better word. Test people when they write out a paper. And who are they? I said, wow. And this is normal. This is normal in this industry. It's just going up, going up.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you see something new, stand by because there's something else new behind it.
That's right. Yeah, they're going to have to, back in the colleges, they're going to have that AI decide whether AI wrote it or not.
Thank you. Thank you. We have equipment out there and packages that'll stop and check to see if you're doing anything right or wrong. But even then, this thing can outbox the material.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a video. I found one of your demos. Tyler, Tony, can you roll that fun for me? I'm on the brain. Can you roll that for me, please, sir?
I mean, who, hears sirens and runs out with a toy gun?
Coop, Tang, I need you to separate. Schumann from FID's on his way. All right, you know the rules. Separate corners until after the debrief. Tang, let's go.
See you later.
Look good in that uniform, young man. And a sergeant, too, on top of that. Wow.
Yeah. They love me as a cop.
Okay. Let's go. Okay. Explain, please.
I don't know. I guess I could look good in a uniform because I book a lot of cop roles, cops and lawyers. They seem to like me. Maybe I got that air of authority.
I'll leave that one alone because we can get into some good stuff on that one. See me off camera. We'll talk about it. Another film that we see you got working on right now is called Halfway House, a film crime drama.
Yeah, Halfway House. It's Mark Casey is the director. I've done another film by him that just came out called Sasha Lanes. And Halfway House, I play like a parole officer, and for some people that are in a halfway house, and some crime, and there's some cool people in there like Sticky Fingers from Onyx, and the Damian Hall is also in it from the group Guy. So there's a couple of musician people / actors that are in that, make it really interesting. And it's a good thing. They haven't finished all the shooting of it. Right. And they don't know if there's going to be a movie or if they're going to make it into a series, but it's a good one. It's a good one. That director is pretty hot. So he's one of those USC graduates. Like,
all right. Did you say USC?
Yeah.
But I call it USC.
USC.
I understand that this movie, according to what IMDb told me last night, September 1st is when it's coming out.
September 1st? Oh, for the
2023. Yes.
For the Halfway House?
For the Halfway House, yes. That's when it says coming soon release.
That's I'm learning that right now because I'm gonna have to call the director.
Please do. Say, Mr. Director, where's my money? Where's my money?
We'll see.
Yes, I'll be playing with my money.
Right.
I see you got a couple of other ones. The Vagrant, that's completed. The Holiday Proposal Plan, that's completed.
Yeah, The Vagrant is a movie I shot out in Queens. So yeah, your neck of the woods, Queens, New York.
All right. What school out there?
Huh?
What school out there? Aviation High School.
Okay. Yeah, we was right by Jamaica, Queens, and we shot this movie called The Vagrant about this guy who was a businessman. Then wife died. He kind of fell off and became homeless. And then his journey back to getting to where he needs to be. And I play one of his business partners at this company when he started to fall off, and I was kind of taking over things, and then he became homeless. Yeah, it's a good feel good story.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need those writers. Come on, folks. We need those writers, because without a writer, nothing happens.
That's right.
I love when they call it the baby. The writer writes it and hands the baby to the director. Okay, I got it now. Now, can I go ahead and move this, move that, do this? Wait, what are you doing that to me? There's a lot. You don't know the fun that goes on behind the scenes. Where's your favorite place when you're on set? Where's your favorite place when you're on the set?
My favorite place is right in front of that camera in the close-up.
Okay, all right. How about number 2? Is there a second one?
On the set by where the food is.
Number 1 for me.
Yeah, they always got some good food on the set.
I think one experience I never will forget, I was doing some work with who's that? A couple of people, Harlem House. And that was a great show, but what's his name? Was feeding us. And did he feed us? He really felt us a lot of good times. Man, say we move on. Okay. You have a movie that you just started out to work on, Bet Plus, called Forbidden Fruit.
Yes, out now on BET Plus.
And what's your role, sir?
I play a pastor named Delmar Sims.
Yes.
And I've got a past.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a single dad, raising my daughter. I'm also a pastor, and my wife has passed away when my daughter was born, early in my daughter's life. And now I'm kind of forced to go back to that life that I tried to forget about before I was a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good. That's probably one of my favorite roles that I got to play. And and it's supposed to be a part 2 that we'll be working on hopefully soon.
Okay. We just happen to have a clip. Roll it, Tony.
The irony of it is, you didn't even have to steal from me. I've been feeling like God is punishing me for my wrongdoing.
The cancer is spreading.
Does that mean I die?
No father wants their daughter worrying about anything.
The average cost of treatment, it can be up to 44 grand.
How's he gonna come up with that much money in time?
I gotta hand it to you. I didn't think you still had it in you.
I guarantee you I can move twice the weight without so much as a hiccup.
We have our whole lives ahead of us. I don't want to spend my life.
All right. Thank you for bringing us out, and thank you, publicists, for that. Really appreciate that. By the way, that was Eddie Murphy. I had to correct myself who that was. Eddie Murphy, when we had Harlem Nights.
Eddie. Oh, yeah, okay. Harlem Nights.
He fixed up some good food, ribs and all that good stuff. People, yes, that's what happens on the set, folks. Those that don't know it, they bring food. That's one thing about this industry. They bring food. They don't play. I love that loving. Good loving. Here's a crazy question. Why do you do what you do? Why are you in this business?
Because I love it.
Go ahead.
You get to be somebody else. You gotta, feel some other feelings. You take things to a different level in your head. It's a beautiful process. Okay. Difficult, but beautiful to see the whole process run through from beginning to end, transforming into this character, putting it all together, all the things from the script to the acting to the directing to the editing, to see that final product come out. It's a beautiful thing. And for people to feel it and enjoy it is, gives me joy.
On that note, Patrick, thank you for being here today. Got a lot of good info for those in the business. Please, sir, keep it up and continue success. And please thank your publicist, Marie Y. Lamel, MBA. I like that MBA, for having you out here today.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, Marie. And
My
go
pleasure.
out and get your BET Plus and check out Forbidden Fruit.
Yes. Okay. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Bless you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Faucette. Indeed. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to, this is the Actor's Choice. We'd like to let you to have us ask on the Choice Squad to help us get former baseball player Curt Flood into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, Curt, who passed away January 20th, 1997, was a husband of one of our wonderful guests, renowned actress Judy Pace. So all you got to do is go to contact our office at 213-349-3941. That's 213-349-3941. Ladies and gentlemen, sincerely thank each and every one of you for being a part of this magnificent award for a great baseball player. Roll it, Tony. Well, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Do you want to get into broadcasting? Because if you do, take a moment to ask you a very important question, and that is, have you ever thought about getting into broadcasting? You know, money's good. You meet a lot of people. You go into the different places as a start. I'm in broadcasting for many, many years. I have a flavor with it. I love it. I'm teaching a class right now over at Santa Monica College. Been there for over 20 years. We can offer you the skills of broadcasting, announcing, and production. So give me a call, 323-533-1036. That's 323-533-1036. We go online tomorrow. We start classes tomorrow. So if you're interested, give me a call. Again, 323-533-1036. 323-533-1036. Okay? Okay. Roll it, Tony.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Is that?
Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest today wears many, many hats. He's a playwright, has done 19 plays. He's an author, has written 3 books. He has done 2 TV pilots, 12 documentaries, wow, and several series. On top of that, he's also an actor, ladies and gentlemen. Today, he's here to talk about an autobiographical comic drama about he and 3 siblings. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Garry Michael Kluger. Greetings, Garry, and welcome to the Actor's Choice. But first, would you please tell us where you come from?
I come from, well, I've been in California about 40 years, but I come from Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, Maryland, a.k.a. B-Ball.
And I'm still a Ravens and Orioles fan.
Oh, yes. And, of course, the Crabs are crazy in that.
Of course.
Oh, man, them things are saying the taste, we call it. Oh, boy. I was stationed in the Navy at the Naval Academy, so every now and then I'd make my roll up the street, go in there and give me some of them cabs. Yep. All right. Next question. What is it? I always ask this question. What made you get into this business?
I'm a masochist, I suppose. When I was 8 years old, my brothers and I, it was actually even before that, my brothers and I used to sing for whatever reason. My mother was very much into Broadway musicals, so I knew the scores for many musicals. She used to play them all the time. And my brothers and I used to sing and perform. And when I was 8, I got cast. It was a summer camp, theater camp, whatever. I got cast in a hybrid Oliver / The Prince and the Pauper musical called The Prince and Oliver. I played Oliver, and it was my first time on a stage facing an audience, and I was just hooked. I mean, you know, it's kind of like my play. It's like a drug addiction. You can't get rid of it. It's no matter how hard you try.
Yes, yes. You go into it with the spirit that won't wait a minute. You do some very good work.
Well, thank you very much.
Your name is known by a few in this business. And, when I say Garry, there are 2 R's. I have to tell them 2 R's. And
yes, sir. That's my mother named me after Garry Moore, and that's a trivia question that a lot of people won't know. Won't remember who he was, but he was a talk show host.
Got you. That hat that you're wearing, is that a special hat?
It says Walking in Space. I'm all about promotion.
All right. Okay. What's your favorite? Writing, acting, or producing?
At this point, and for the last couple of years or last many years, it's been the writing because it seems to be the most freeing. It seems to be there's not as many parameters, and there's not as many conditions attached to it as there is in acting. I've acted for a very long time, but when you're 5'4", they only let you do so much. You know, they'll tell you when you're in acting school or when you're in college or high school or whatever you're doing, they'll say, "Oh, you can play anything." You know what, folks? That ain't the truth. Nobody's ever going to cast me as Andre the Giant. You know, the writing. You know, nobody asks how tall I am when I hand in a script.
Okay.
They sometimes ask you how old you are. Because
yes, I hear that one all the time. Yeah. How old is you? And I tell them none your business.
I say old enough to know better. But it's just because you can do it in so many different mediums. I mean, there's so many different venues to do it. I mean, my wife is a writer, but not anything, but she's a journalist and she's an editor. All of my brothers are writers. They write books, you know. I mean, we've all written plays. My brother Steve just had a musical that was about to head to Broadway and got canceled by the pandemic back in 2019, 2020, which was so we were all writers in some sense. But I love it because I can, and I've written for television, I've written for film, I've written for the stage, so I get to do it all, you know, in all different ways and meets all kinds of different actors and producers. And I mean, I've worked for Disney as one of their writers. I've read 130 shows for one of the theme parks. Yeah, that sounds like a lot, but it's not quite, because you're writing the same show over and over and over again, just with 5-6 characters. So I had to keep refreshing the shows. So, and it's very different from, you know, that what I refer to as corporate writing as opposed to more freedom type of writing, which is theater.
Right. Working for Disney, boy, that I bet that's very good. There's something about Disney. There's an attitude to everybody that works for them. They're positive. I've never seen as many people as positive as you had in Disneyland.
It really was. I really enjoyed my time. I was a freelance writer for them on and off for about 5-6 years.
Okay.
And I just remember I was writing a Christmas show, and when you work for somebody especially when you work for the park, when you're putting this stuff in, when you're rehearsing, you have to do it in the evenings after the park closes. So I would go down to the park to work on stuff, and it would be 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I'd be walking down Main Street to go to the venue that I needed to go to, and all the lights are on and all the sounds are there, but it's completely empty. And when they say it's a magical place, it is. It really is. But it was also fun to work there. But they're also very strict, and they were very strict guidelines that you had to follow when you wrote there. I mean, and it sometimes made it a little difficult because I've been known to use a lot of colorful language in my plays. If
really?
You know, Disney was not quite as as open to some of my language. So, but you learn.
Oh yeah.
You get a job.
Yeah. You want to keep your job? Yep.
Yes.
Indeed. Here's a good question for you. Enjoyment of seeing your play on the stage that you wrote.
10 plus, if you're going on a scale of 10, there was absolutely nothing like seeing a world that you've created play out in front of you. Yes. I mean, look at something and go, I mean, I'm a real huge Harry Potter fan, and I talk about what J.K. Rowling did, where she created this entire world with money and games, and and you create this world. And when I write my plays, I create a situation, I create a world, I create a family, and it's all coming from my head. And Walking in Space, I started 12 years ago working on this play. And so it's a long journey. And when you go from that first time, when you hit the first key, or you write in that first line of the notepad, however, you choose to write. And then 12 years later, you see the people up there doing what's been in your head for 12 years. Right. There's no feeling like it. There really isn't. It's the culmination of everything you work for. hopefully it's accepted well, and hopefully people enjoy it, and hopefully your message gets out. But that aside, it's still just so incredibly special to see your creation play out in front of you, in front of an audience.
Yes. I found it interesting. The gentleman who was on before you, I mentioned something about what I call a bone that I like to pick with actors and actresses. They will come here. They want to be a star. That's great. But they'll do film, they'll do television, but they won't do no stage.
And what's very funny, because I've seen almost the opposite problem, especially with the unions.
Yes.
And one of the reasons is it doesn't pay as well. I mean, being perfectly honest, it pays. I mean, it's still worth a living, because I worked on stage for a long time and made a decent enough living, to pay my rent and do whatever. But you're not getting $15 million unless you're a really huge star who's going to Broadway for 6 months or something. You're not getting the kind of money that's paid out in television and film, which is one of the reasons why there's a strike right now, because they don't want to, because the salaries are larger. There's also a commitment to theater that's not quite the same. I mean, you might be on a film for 5-6 weeks if you're, not starring in it or whatever. I mean, you could be on a film for months if you're, doing a Harry Potter, if you're one of the stars of a Harry Potter film, or, Top Gun or whatever else. But there's a certain commitment, and there's a certain amount of time you have to spend if you're going to be on stage. And there are a lot of younger actors who are just not willing to put in that time. They want the immediacy. They want that automatic, I'm going in, I'm going to do my work, I'm going to go home. And, I do that for 3 weeks, and then it's on to the next job. We started, like I said, I started this play 12 years ago. We started production in, I guess it was January, and now it's August. We didn't, I mean, it was all the pre-production. It was all gathering the cast. There was, we have rehearsals. We have, it's become more expensive in LA to do it. So we have to be really careful. There's used to be able to do it for free if you wanted to. Now you can't. There was a bill called AB5 several years ago, and it was for nonprofits and even theaters, and you have to pay everybody minimum wage. And don't get me wrong, I am all for actors getting paid. It just jumps up your budget, incredibly. It used to be a certain amount of money to do it. Now that you're paying actors just for rehearsals, but you have to pay them for rehearsals and for performances, and which is, again, it's all fine with me. It just increases your budget. But the thing that's interesting is there are a lot of actors who wanted to do it. If you're a member of, say, Actors Equity, for a long time, they wouldn't let you work in small theater. I mean, there are a lot of actors that I know are in between jobs or in between movies or TV series, and just there's always a play that they always wanted to do or just want to keep working while they're doing it. So there used to be a thing called equity waiver, where the union let actors work in small theater with a 99 seat limit, and for a certain amount of time. You could do, I think, 8 weeks or something at the most. So there's two sides of it. There are actors who just don't want to do it because it doesn't pay enough or it takes up too much of their time. And then there are the actors who want to do it but can't do it because of union requirements.
Wow. Just when you thought you was moving up, pushed you back. Oh boy. Question. Ideas for a play. How do you get that?
They could come from anywhere. I could be sitting in a park with my kids or something when they were younger, and I'd see an incident, I'd see something happen, and I would germinate an idea. The very first play I wrote happened because I was writing scenes for casting directors with a partner of mine named Julie. She and I would do these prepared scene showcases, and I got this idea. And she was a very serious actress, but she also thought she could play everything. And so we were joking about it, where I once told her, no, you can't play that. That's a man's role, or that's a person of color's role, or whatever, and you're just not that person. And she said, I'm an actor. I can do anything. And it struck me. So I wrote this scene about this guy and his actress girlfriend. And she comes home from an audition that she didn't get because she went off a role that she was not capable of doing, but she didn't understand why. And it just germinated in my head from our conversation, and it turned into this scene, this 8 or 10 minute scene, and then it turned into a whole play after that.
Okay.
And that was the first play that I ever wrote.
Oh, interesting. I happened to, in my research while I was doing some stuff, I happened to see a play that you wrote called A Thorn Family Paw.
Yes.
Tell us about that one, sir.
That actually started off as I was thinking about a family, because it starts off in 1945. And then it jumps to 1969. And then it jumps to 1980 and then 1992. And it starts with this couple, and it started out as a one act with this guy who had just come home from the war, from World War II, with his wife. And I wrote the scene, and it was just there. It was about a half hour, and I said, I wonder what this couple would be like 30 years after that, and then another 10 years after that, and then another 10 years after that. So it turned into this play about this family and their kids, this couple and their kids, and what happens to them along the way, and the surprises that can happen. And the best thing that happened from that play is I would get people who'd see it and would say, "That was my family," or "How did you know that? I did that when or my wife and I did that," or that's always the biggest role when somebody recognizes something and that they think they're, it's things that happen to them or just happen to them. They don't realize that happens to a lot of other people. But A Thorn in the Family Paw was really special. It's the first play I did at Theater West.
Yes.
And it garnered a bunch of awards, which is always nice. It's not the big thing. But it got me a lot of credit, and I enjoyed it. My actors were just phenomenal in that. And I have one of my actors, his name is George Tovar. He's also a magician at the Magic Castle, who will come up to me and say, "It's still my favorite play I've ever done." And that's just a joy to me. That just makes my heart sing when an actor does that.
There's a lady named Arden Teresa Lewis. She actually she did one of your plays. She directed one of your plays.
She directed Thorn in the Family Paw.
Yes. Roll it, Tony.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Is that enough?
I think it was the
Super. Beating you 5 by 5.
Then can we get this show on the road? I mean, the satellite link is still down, and 6 a.m. is rapidly approaching.
Diana, this is Joseph again. We've got a little problem here. You're going to have to anchor the show by yourself again.
Are you shitting me? Oh, I know what our problem is. It's Frank, isn't it? Frank's fallen off the wagon again. Oh!
It's quiet. We'll give you a copy of the show, and you'll see the audio on it. We're here. There's something sitting behind you. You've mentioned it several times. I said, well, maybe he could tell me, what is that walking in space? What's that?
Walking in Space is my latest play. It opens in 2 weeks.
All right.
And it is the story. It's what I like to call my fictionalized autobiography.
Yes.
Truman Capote, when he wrote In Cold Blood, used to refer to it as his nonfiction novel, because it was all based on a true story, but he sort of embellished certain parts about it or whatever. And Walking in Space was, the incidents that happened were absolutely 100% true. It happened to me and my brothers when I was from the time I was 5 or 6 until I was a senior in high school. My mother wound up being addicted to drugs. She was a barbiturate. She was addicted to barbiturates, which is interesting now because I was talking to my doctor about this because I was asking some medical questions, and my doctor, when I was at a checkup, and he said to me, "That's interesting because that doesn't happen anymore. Barbiturate addictions are not a big thing anymore. It's more opiates and whatever else." But my mother was a barbiturate addict. And it got so bad. I was, I think, 16 years old at the time. She was trying to change a light bulb in the kitchen at 2 o'clock in the morning and fell off the ladder and busted her face open. And that's when my brothers and I all decided we got to do something. I mean, we really felt that she was not going to be alive for much longer. And so we had a talk with our family doctor, and we had her committed when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
And at that point, there were no Betty Ford clinics, there were no rehabs, there was no places that you go out to Malibu or whatever else. So she was treated in the drug section of a mental institution in Baltimore. It was very famous, called the Seton Institute. And she was there for about 3 weeks, being dried out. And so Walking in Space tells that story. I've changed certain elements. It was 4 boys in the play. It's 2 boys and 2 girls who are siblings. the second act of the play, without giving anything away, is more fictionalized than the first act. The first act was how we dealt with it, but the main theme of that play to me was the siblings. I mean, it was their bond, which is to me is a central theme. These four people, how much they depended on each other to save each other. I mean, I'm just thinking back. If I had been an only child, I don't know what I would have done.
Garry, guess what?
What?
We just got a picture of you, Tony.
Oh.
Which one are you? Which one are you?
I am all the way on the right. My mother's
all right.
I'm in the blue suit. That was me. I was 1960.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Means a lot to this guy. Means a lot. Oh.
But those brothers and my sister and my half sister and my half brother are the most precious things in the world to me, outside of my wife and my children. And if it weren't for my brothers, I don't know if I would have survived.
Gotcha. World premiere, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
Well, this is the first time this story is going to be in front of people. I mean, it's any world premiere does that. It's terrifying. I mean, if the show's I've had shows that I've seen done 3 and 4 and 5 times.
Yes.
In different venues. But the first time is always the most, I don't know if it's the most special is the best way to put it, but it's the most electrifying and the most terrifying.
Yes.
If you do a show that's done fairly well, then you're used to it when you see it the next time. I have no idea what the audience reaction to this will be. I'm hoping they'll enjoy the story. But you never, you can never predict how somebody's going to react to something. I mean, all my brothers are coming out to see it.
Yes.
For opening night.
Yes.
And it will be forever. The show, when the play gets published eventually, it will say originally produced at Theater West in this year, and that'll be the world premiere. There won't be another one for this play, and I think that's with any play. There's only one world premiere.
Amen. Amen. What excites you the most about this play?
It's my therapy. It excites me that I get to tell this story. I mean, I held it in for such a long time, and there are a lot of people who go, "You really want to tell this story to everybody?" I'm just like, "Yeah, I do. I think it's important. I think it's not only an important story for me and for myself and my family, but I think it's an important story for a lot of people, because what happened to me is I'm not unique. It's, my situation, I'm not an anomaly. This happens all the time. And people need to know about this. They need to be able to know what to do. They need to be able to know to look for the signs. Addiction is a very old, it's a very old disease, but it is a disease. And it can be cured. That's not always cured. I mean, there are a lot of people who die from this disease. But I hope that maybe what this play will do is spark somebody to think, wow, I know somebody like that, or that's my mother, or that's my friend's mother, or whatever, and start that process where help can be given. Because I wrote in an interview, silence doesn't help anybody.
Yes.
And so I'm not being silent.
Okay. You on a 5-week run?
Yes.
September 8th through October the 8th?
Yes.
Location?
Theater West, 3333 Cahuenga Boulevard West.
There it is. Parking?
There is parking. There's street parking. There is a lot across the street that is a credit card lot. And it depends on what time you get down there. Sometimes there's lots of street parking. Sometimes there's also a bar up the street. So if you get down there too late on a Friday night, go across the street to the parking lot.
Walking in space.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful, beautiful words. Garry, all I can say is do come back again, sir. You have done a tremendous amount of work over the years. And for that, we sincerely thank you.
Well, I thank you. I thank you very, very much.
Of course, my best thanks go to your publicist. We know who that is. Lucy Pollock.
Yay, Lucy.
Yes,
amazing person. just amazing at her job.
Indeed. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Garry Michael Kluger. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman, Photography is an Art, Ron Irwin's Lose Life, Way to Lose Weight, Larry Buford's Book to the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm agent Carla Green and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Actor Training School called an Actor's Space. Much thanks to our guest today, actor Patrick Faucette, playwright, author, actor Garry Michael Kluger. The Actor's Choice is a presentation of B&B Productions. Rudolph Brewington, my twin brother, he's the president, and Sydney Chandler, she's our executive producer. Special thanks to our ever growing audience. Be well. I'm Ron Brewington. See you next time.
Thank you, Ron.